Welcome back. You're watching News Night. Arise News analyst Biodun Adeniyi joins us to discuss this. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have to try and put as much in. That question that Amaka Okoye asked in that report, was the future of education in the Northeast? Well, the UN says that, that's on the first International Day to protect education from attack. That more than 3 million children actually, have their education at risk in the Northeast. How should government, attack this?
Yeah, very quickly, I think it's an area that we cannot afford to neglect. It's something that we cannot be intimidated about, And what this means is for government to think about new efforts to accommodate the students at the level of education, because the fertilization of the mind thrives in peace. It doesn't thrive in an atmosphere of fear, of uncertainty. And how can they go about it? We've had the Borno experience where half of the population now converge in Maduguri because the countrysides, the downsides are not safe. In a state like Kaduna, where unfortunately we've been recording high level of banditry, perhaps we should think about evacuating students, from the countrysides, from the suburbs, to the center. Kaduna, for instance, where some emergency accommodation can be made for them to be educated, because we cannot give excuse, for not educating these children, really.
Yeah, let me ask you two questions straight out. One is tinkering with the online education. What do you think about that? You said moving them out, to the states, but tinkering with online education, that's one. Then secondly, let's discuss the effects these kidnappings, the conditions the students found themselves in will have on their psyche, and then how should they be rehabilitated?
It's a very difficult thing, really. Like I said, education thrives in peace, thrives in an atmosphere that is conducive for the learner, and when you're trying to fertilize the mind, and the mind is permanently in a state of fear, feeling some kind of, chill, of course, it's not going to happen, it's not going to be possible. But the onus still lies on government to create the enabling environment, because the boundary seems to be outsmarting us. We know that the last person you want to fight is the one that is watching you, and they're probably not watching enough. We still have shortcomings at the level of intelligence. That's why they are still outsmarting us. Against that background, we need to embark on some emergency measures. In the meantime, evacuate the students, from the countryside, from all the suburbs, into the city centers where they can get some kind of emergency education. So
some experts are saying there may be a need to go online, provide online education, but that does not come without its own challenges. Because
in the wake of the COVID-19, that was supposed to be an option for so many institutions. Even some tertiary institutions had difficulty in this area. Yes, it's upon us, communication is upon us, online education is around us, we are getting close to the Internet of Things, but of course we still have deficiencies, lacunas in this area. We cannot pretend that because we are aware of it, we can adopt it. We still have serious problem of connectivity, serious problem of affordability. In other climes, laptops are freely distributed to students. We haven't gotten to that level yet, So what about, affordability? How many students can afford computers, laptops, etc.? And to what extent can we say government can provide these facilities for them?
All right.
There are still limitations in this area. So the one we can resort to essentially is still the physical.
All right.
How do you even incentivize?
Let's talk about the danger of parents not prioritizing education. UNESCO was talking about this, some were talking about withdrawing their words from school, not even going to school at all.
Well, it's a legitimate fear. You cannot really blame the parents if they choose not to prioritize it, because they're concerned about the safety of their children first. They rather prefer their children to be alive and not be educated.
But should there be incentives for these parents to take their kids to school?
Yeah.
What kind of incentives?
We're in a period of emergency. In the outbreak of the COVID-19, there were palliatives, to help people cushion the economic pain that the COVID-19 caused. Now we're in a period of another emergency. There could be palliatives for the educational sector, for those proprietors running secondary education and up to the schools that these students are in, so that we can have some progress, really. But because there's no excuse, for illiteracy. And of course, part of our problem is actually illiteracy, shortfall in human capacity, ignorance, and misactions all over the place. It's not a thing that we want to sustain. So emergency measures,
we'll leave it there.
Absolutely right.
Thank you so much, Biodun Adeniyi, there for your contributions.